for Game of the Year goes to is
The Witcher 3.
God of War.
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Baldur's Gate 3.
Imagine what if one simple design concept could explain why some of the greatest games ever made became global hits. A concept so powerful that without it, games like Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild or GTA might never have reached the same level of success. For the past 13 years, I have researched and dissected games to understand what makes them truly engaging. The result is this powerful game design framework, one that I now teach to my clients, mentees, and students. Today, I will share my secrets with you. How to use the psychology of motivation, engagement, and fun to create entirely new and innovative game mechanics, all based on psychology and science.
Fun fact, did you know we've been throwing rockets at the sky for over 700 years? 700! But the huge leap where we started to travel space, hit the moon, and eventually even reach Pluto, which is 5 billion kilometers or 3 billion miles away, that we did in only the past 65 years.
Yes, this is when we started using math, science, and understood physics. Every industry eventually discovers its science. Game design hasn't. Not really. We are still in the early phase where we don't use much of science yet. We keep fiddling around, trial and erroring to the max. It's time we finally start understanding the physics of game making. This will make the difference between a mere house builder and an architect. The builder is a craftsperson who can build small houses. An architect can create huge, reliable buildings worth hundreds of millions of dollars that can even withstand earthquakes. My framework brings science and psychology into the craft of game design, and I promise you, it will enable you to do the metaphoric leap to Pluto.
Everyone who's watched Patrick's courses will definitely know what's coming now.
The Self-Determination Theory by Ryan and Deci.
Let's talk about self-determination theory! If you know our channel, you know what I'm talking about.
If not, well, come on. It's time to subscribe.
Here is everything in a nutshell. Self-determination theory by Ryan and Deci is one of the most comprehensive ways to describe intrinsic motivation of humans. And in game design, it has proven to be more scientifically significant, representative for big audiences, and eventually clearer than Bartle's outdated taxonomy of player types or Quantic Foundry's gamer motivation categories. It's human-centric. It's truly understanding the actual behavior of human beings.
All you need to remember, and that may be the most difficult part already, is the 3 factors of human intrinsic motivation. Think of each of them as a source of what we experience as fun, engagement, passion, immersion, satisfaction, or flow. The 3 factors are
Autonomy. Okay, anyone can say what it actually means, autonomy? That's the difficult part now. Meaningful choices.
autonomy is the urge to be causal agent of one's own life and act in harmony with one's own convictions. If we have the feeling our micro and macro decisions in a game are relevant and impactful, we feel motivated and engaged.
Relatedness.
What is relatedness? Who knows that? That's a difficult term. It's also a bit unusual in the English language, I think, to use that term, but there's a reason we use that term over socializing.
The urge to interact and be connected and experience caring for other individuals. We are social beings. It's important for us to be with other humans and connect with them, playing a game against them or experiencing their stories.
This also includes game characters, by the way, as they are basically artificial people, their background stories, and eventually the story and lore of your game world, since this is a mere attachment to the characters you interact with in your game. Competence.
It's I think the relationship between how skilled you are and how difficult, challenging the game is.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're a skilled player, but if the game is too difficult, not too easy, then you get bored really easily.
Excellent.
You are now skilled, but the game is too hard, then you get frustrated and you just don't play it anymore.
The urge to be in control and experience mastery. When our brain feels it learned something and improved, it will reward us for it. Our brain urges for constantly building new synapse connections. Constant learning is important to humans. You have certainly heard of the concept of the flow theory by another psychologist, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. His model explains the competence factor quite well. It's all about staying within the flow channel of facing challenges that are neither too easy or boring, nor too difficult or frustrating. This is often praised as the main source of motivation by many influencers out there. But in fact, the self-determination theory already showed for over 50 years that this is only one piece of the puzzle.
Here you have it. All that fun, engagement and motivation, the core why people play your game, are the three factors: autonomy, relatedness and competence. In my job as a games researcher and product analyst, I deconstructed hundreds of games and thousands of game mechanics by this one pattern. Here is a brief short we made a while ago to give you a bit of context.
But you need to understand these factors if you want to be very effective with your user engagement and gameplay fun. We analyzed the market by that, by the way, after this model at One Namco. We checked top 100 games in profit of all time. They are almost all great at mixing these factors together very, very well. World of Warcraft, for example. Relatedness, you have alliances, people play together. Autonomy, you have to make a lot of important decisions in the game. Even starting with creating your character will have a lot of impact on your entire journey. Competence, you have so much progression, learning, highly, highly engaging. If you don't need to create such a huge game in order to satisfy all three factors, it also works in smaller versions.
Now, knowing all this from your research, wouldn't that enable us to make better games? How can we use this intel in designs?
Glad you asked. And yes, indeed, from the past 13 years of research together with the cross-national teams I worked in at massively successful game studios and publishers, I have created my very own game design framework. I call it the ARC design framework. And I guess you know what ARC stands for now.
Autonomy, relatedness, and competence?
Ding 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 ding! You got it! Using autonomy, relatedness, and competence, the ARC design framework can help us creating innovative features without even looking at other games to find inspiration. Now that we understand the ARC design framework, let's actually use it. Imagine you are designing a brand new game. Can you think of a gameplay feature that has already been done a million times?
Jumping?
Yes, we have all seen jumping mechanics. Mario, Uncharted, Celeste, Journey. Surely, there's nothing left to invent. Or is there?
So yeah, let's talk about jumping. How do we arc the jumping feature? Let's start with what jumping features usually are. Is it autonomy, relatedness, or competence usually? If you think about the mere jumping. I'm thinking really isolated now. I want to make a game about jumping. There's no levels yet or anything else. But I would argue it is competence. Because when we have a jumping thing in the first place, it's about learning how that works. How high can I jump? And where can I jump? How does it work? What timing do I have to use? It's all learning and understanding first.
A basic jump is mostly about learning and mastery. The player improves with every jump they do. That's the competence factor. But if we stop there, our jump is just another jump. So let's push it further.
How does it become more autonomous? How does my jumping have meaningful decision making in it? Yes.
I would consider the variable jump height.
Variable jump height. That is my first decision I can finally do.
Jump modifiers, things like a double jump or more appropriately maybe the triple jump that you can do in Super Mario Bros.
Triple jumps, adding stackable jumps, almost double jumps and such. that gives us decision making now. Which jump do I use? And also competence.
In Uncharted, you can jump into any direction, and that's pretty much it. Not much of decision making here, except for when and where to jump. Mario's different jump techniques, however, keeps asking you for constant micro decision making, and sometimes even proper planning and strategizing about how to make really difficult jumps overcoming tricky obstacles or distances. Now comes the really interesting part. Relatedness. How do you make jumping social?
And this is where it's getting interesting, because now we are becoming a little bit more innovative than most parts of the games industry so far. Yes?
Everything is, I don't know, sound cues.
Sound cues. Why does that add anything to relatedness? So if I see like an immutable object like this table, I don't care about that table. If it falls, like, I care about the person owning the table, but I don't care about the table. If that table has eyes and talks to me, just put googly eyes on it and we start caring about it. And then if the table falls, we might be like, oh no, the poor table.
Most people think relatedness only means multiplayer, but it's much broader than that. Anything that makes us care, NPC reactions, enemy reactions, character personality, even something as simple as Mario's little Yahoo! Adds personality to every jump. That all adds something, especially when there are reactions, expressions, and emotions that mimic humans. The thing you feel in that moment, that is relatedness.
What was that noise?
And then there's Journey, a game that somehow managed to make jumping feel emotional. Journey's jumping mechanic becomes more like a flying mechanic when you collect that energy that is stored in your scarf. However, you run out of energy very quickly and therefore you can't really jump or fly very far. And then, when you meet another player in the game and you are in close proximity to each other, you will provide each other with energy. You can basically fly forever when just sticking together. Just like in real life. Isn't that beautiful?
How poetic, indeed.
And it's a really powerful, innovative and fun feature based entirely on the relatedness factor.
Alright, that was a really nice breakdown, and I think I understand how we can reinvent the jumping wheel. Can I try?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
Alright, let's start with the vanilla jumping feature. Jumping in itself is already competence driven, based on the gameplay built around it. But now I could add autonomy to it. Maybe the jump height is tied to how long the player presses the jump button, as well as different aerial attacks that the player could perform. Now there's already something for the player to choose from. But I want the feeling of competence and autonomy to be even stronger. So what if the jumping was tied to the equipment as well? Based on what weapon or armor the character is wearing, the physics of jumping might change, forcing the player to change their whole playstyle. Let's say I equip a super heavy claymore. Maybe now my jumping becomes heavier as well. So jumping on top of an enemy is more impactful and might even damage them. Every time the player switches their gear, the player has to master an entirely new way of playing the game. This would add tactical as well as strategic freedom. Lots of important decision making, since my equipment will impact the core gameplay and how to approach obstacles, enemies, and other level elements in the game.
Yes, a really nice blend between competence and autonomy. I should mention that we see a lot of powerful synergies happening, boosting engagement to the max when two or all three factors are mixed together. This is why I like to display the three factors with my Venn diagram here, where we can see in the center that the perfect blend will lead to massive player engagement.
Alright, then now let's mix in some relatedness to complete the picture. So, what could we do to add relatedness to this? Anything that makes us care, right? Interact or connect to other individuals? So that could be our game character making noise with every jump, showing off their personality, kind of like Super Mario. Other NPCs maybe reacting to my jump, maybe cheering or complaining when hitting them. And enemies reacting to my unique jumping styles, maybe even saying a word or two, looking up, being scared of what jump attack could follow next. In fact, I rarely see enemies in games reacting to the mere action of a jump.
That's right, and now you understand how thinking in these three factors helps us to think in new, fun ways. And it doesn't matter how we trigger these factors, they are always leading to fun, even if it's mechanics you never saw before. Just merely by understanding the science of the relatedness factor, you can now already foresee that other individuals, your NPCs and game characters, reacting to your jumps will be fun. It will create a unique connection between the player, your game characters, and the game world.
However, if we now added other players to it, I could also make all playable characters react to each other's jumps. And then, thinking how Journey used the relatedness factor, maybe I can add relatedness through equipment parts that give me unique social skills. For example, a pair of boots that allow me to jump on top and bounce off another player could give me more airtime. Or add extra aerial kick attacks. Or we can trigger a partner jump animation if we're wearing the same boots and launch together. The possibilities are truly endless.
Now you truly understand the creative power of the ARC design framework. And yeah, I understand that ideas are not really rare in the games industry. Most of the time, the problem is just that our ideas barely follow direction. Either they are just not really fun eventually, or they are kind of unbalanced. For example, when they only make use of one of the factors like the competence factor or the flow aspect of it. With the ARC design framework, you will always have the full range of intrinsic motivation in mind. And you will be able to create features that tackle all three factors at once. And let me tell you that nothing is more powerful in terms of fun, engagement, or user retention than the synergies you can create when blending autonomy, relatedness, and competence together.
The more I think of it, the more I understand how little we have actually observed what is possible in game design. I could go through all kinds of features with this mindset now. Simple features like jumping, running, crouching. I feel I can improve them all now. And thinking of meta gameplay features for free-to-play or service games. For example, knowing that relatedness is an important factor. Why are there barely any social features around battle passes? Why aren't there any battle passes I need to do together with my clan? Wouldn't that increase the engagement for such monetization and retention features massively? Or why are most monetization packs I can purchase in free-to-play games aiming only at progression or even pay-to-win, meaning the competence factor? Often they ignore the fact that they could just provide me with more strategic freedom, more variety for impactful decision-making. I think at least card games are pretty good at this, since they don't just give you stronger cards, but rather cards that enable you to create new decks and come up with new strategies. This is probably one of the reasons why card games feel quite unique to other games, because they focus a lot on autonomy with their monetization. But now thinking relatedness, why do I almost never see that when I purchase something, that this benefits my clan members too? If I did it not only for myself, but I know the entire group will benefit from my purchase, wouldn't I be more encouraged to purchase something?
Yes, this is rare indeed. But I do remember a mobile game that did this pretty well. Game of War Fire Age. Whenever you purchased something for yourself, all your 99 Alliance members would receive a random gift too. This adds something positive to the purchase for everyone and made in-game purchases more accepted overall. And this game made more than $1 million in revenue per day over the course of several years. Knowing about the power of relatedness, this studio became super rich.
So let's look at a real example. This is our own game, False Sun, which we are currently working on as a wonderful team of 6, and let's see how we are applying these 3 psychological needs in practice. False Sun is a top-down twin-stick shooter where you escort and protect a wagon while leading a growing cult. As you rescue survivors, you can recruit them into your cult, turning them into both followers and an important gameplay resource. Our core game loop is built around all 3 psychological needs. Competence comes from the combat. We want players to constantly improve their skills, overcome increasingly difficult encounters, and experience the satisfaction of mastering the game's mechanics. Relatedness comes from your cult. You're not just fighting for yourself, but you rescue people, protect them from monsters, and build a community that grows throughout the game. And autonomy comes from the choices you make between combat encounters. You decide which abilities to unlock, how to develop your build, and sometimes you're faced with really difficult decisions that affect the cult and your people. But here's the important part. We don't want these needs to exist in isolation. Ideally, every system in the game reinforces all three at the same time. Take progression as an example. Unlocking a new skill gives you autonomy because you're shaping your own build. It also increases competence as you learn new abilities and become more effective in combat. Some upgrades even strengthen your relationship with your cult by allowing followers to fight alongside you. Sometimes these choices come with consequences. For example, you can sacrifice a cult member in exchange for an additional skill point. That gives you more power, but it might make the rest of your cult feel unsafe, or even cause members to abandon you. We actually took inspiration for this kind of trade-off from Cult of the Lamp. Our combat also follows the same philosophy. We try to keep encounters challenging enough to create a sense of mastery without becoming frustrating, helping players to stay in a state of flow and feel competent. At the same time, you're fighting to protect people you've spent time rescuing and building relationships with. If one of your followers dies because of a bad decision, that loss feels personal. They might never come back. Suddenly, your choices have real emotional weight because they don't just affect your character, they affect the people you've chosen to lead. That's ultimately our goal. Every major gameplay system should reinforce autonomy, relatedness, and competence simultaneously, rather than treating them as separate mechanics.
This all sounds excellent. Now I got a challenge for you. Pick a feature or game mechanic, maybe something you are currently working on, or just an existing mechanic from any game that you want to improve. Then pick one or more of the three factors: autonomy, relatedness, or competence, and write in the comments what you would do to add more engagement and fun to the feature using the ARC design framework. And here's my promise to you. My sister and I will read all your comments and help you exercising this, providing you feedback or improve the idea together with you. We would even love to make a follow-up video where we talk about some of your best ideas. That would be amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm super curious what all of you will come up with. And while we're at it, if you think this ARC design framework is of any value for your work and you have learned something today, share this video with anyone else this is relevant to. And, subscribe would also be good. Subscribe!
Everything you have learned in this video is based on years of game research, industry experience, and work on games ranging from mobile titles generating over $100,000 a day to franchises like Tekken, Dark Souls, or Elden Ring. This framework is only one part of what we have learned over the years. In this full course, we bring all of our knowledge gathered from years of research and work with games together into one complete roadmap for building successful games. Please consider sharing it with your network, co-workers, or maybe take a look at it yourself. But for now, we look forward to seeing your ideas in the comments.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe. Whoa. Okay. I think that's good.